right, in today's video, we're going to keep talking about communication skills that'll help us communicate better with our children, our partners, our friends, just about anybody in our lives. So habit 5 in Stephen Covey's Leader in Me program is seek first to understand and then be understood. So that basically means that before you spend your time and energy explaining yourself, you really want to step back and try to understand the other person and their perspective. One of the skills that will help you do that and help you really understand how the other people are feeling is called empathic listening. It's also known as reflective listening. But Stephen Covey refers to it as empathic listening. Empathic listening is not required all the time. It takes a lot of energy, it takes some effort, so you only need to do that when emotions are really high. So if you're having a conversation with somebody who's very upset, who's really angry, who's really anxious, who's really sad, this is really going to help you calm them down. So with empathic listening, you listen, and then you do your very best to identify how they're feeling and why. It is so helpful and it feels so good to have someone correctly identify how you're feeling, especially if you haven't put words to it yet. So when you're really sad because you feel left out and you feel lonely and someone says to you, gosh, you seem really sad because maybe you're feeling lonely and left out. And you say, yes, you can almost see the person exhale with relief. That's it. That is how I feel. So we want to give that gift to our children, but we have to be careful because if we identify it wrong, it can be kind of a conversation ender. So I suggest you always say, you seem, before you make the statement of how they're feeling. And then you follow up that statement with a question of, am I right? Or is that correct? So let me give you an example of empathic listening. Your child's talking, you're listening, you're nodding, you're paying attention, and when there's a break in the conversation, you say, you seem blank because blank. Am I right? So you would say, you seem really frustrated because you studied so hard for the test, and when the test came, you blanked out. Is that right? If you got it wrong, you're not going to slam the door on that conversation. The child will say, no, I don't feel that way. I actually feel really sad about it. And if you got it right, it's really going to help calm them. So that's called empathic listening. You seem blank because of blank. Am I right? The second technique that really helps is using I messages instead of you messages. So you messages slam the door on conversation. They make people really defensive and they make people feel like they want to argue. So you statement is just what it sounds like. You never do this. You always interrupt me. You leave your clothes all over the place. You don't care that I have to clean up after you all the time. I mean, we all say them. I say them too. But what's more effective is an I statement. It's hard. I mean, you got to take a breath. You got to think for a second. You have to be proactive, not reactive. And you say, I feel blank when blank. It's very hard for someone to argue with you when you're talking about how you feel. If you say, I feel sad when blah, 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 the other person can't come back and say, no, you don't feel sad. So a you statement could be, you never help me clean. You throw your stuff everywhere. The house is a pigsty. You just don't care. And I'm tired. An I statement is, deep breath. I am really, really tired and I feel like all I do is clean. Can you please help me by putting your stuff away? Another quick example is, you're always interrupting me. You never let me finish what I'm saying. I get really frustrated because I feel like I'm not being able to get all my thoughts out. Can you just give me a minute until I finish talking and then respond? So empathic listening, I messages instead of you messages. They're sure to help your communication, especially with your children.